This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network's coverage of the Ricmotech Cup Series for ExtremeMotorsports99.com. Tonight, we're in virtual Texas for the Texas 222 to decide, in part, how the championship could go for the rest of the regular season. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Steve Bonesteel with Hero Weeze in the production truck. For what should be a thrilling race this evening for Extreme Motorsports. A lot of championship implications on the line. 6 drivers enter tonight within 9 points of the postseason cut line, all trying to keep up with the 32 of Darren Clement and what should be a competitive race tonight, Steve.
Yeah, last week we were at Auto Club Speedway, and it was a very interesting race to say the least. The week before that, we were at Indianapolis. So we've had 2 different tracks, and then we go to a third, completely different beast from the last 2. Here at Texas here tonight, we should see 3 different lanes start to work their way in. We'll have drivers working all of the lanes all night long. Pit strategy will come into play. It's going to be a great race here tonight.
I think so as well. The drivers are getting ready for the starting grid. A 6th new pole sitter of the season will lead them to the green flag. It's Scott the Scrambler that gets the pole with a 29.180. David Weishart will start on the outside for this evening's race. Jay Pryor starts in row number 2 with last week's race winner Davey Hendricks looking to try and go back-to-back starting in 4th. Rounding out the top 5, it is Michael R. Mueller.
And then over in the 6th place position, starting out tonight, it's going to be Alan Fox in the number 73, followed by Ed Morris in the number 7. Rob Haynes is going to be rolling off in 8th. He ran a 29.264. And then you've got Gary Mays starting in 9th, and then Nick Hunt right behind him, rounding out the top 10.
Tyra Hallman with an average finish of 7.83 on the season will start 11th, while Tommy Haynes, who had a strong performance last week before the big one, will start in 12th. Adam Eisenhower 13th, John T. Wimbish starts 14th, with Bobby Tinch looking to get a season turned around tonight, starting 15th on the grid.
And then behind him, assuming Jerry Glenn does take the grid here tonight, he will be starting in 16th, followed by John Sterling. He'll be 17th, Darren Clement in 18th, and then Joshua Gillen 19th, and David Elliott to round out the top 20.
The drivers to the back of the field tonight, Randy Perdue, Bryce Senezak. Travis Pryor will have to start from 2nd to last, 23rd after a horrible qualifying. The slowest car was Mike Franklin. 24 drivers set qualifying time for tonight. To the northeast, that is going into turn 1 with back bumpers getting the win from behind for this race. 24-degree banking on the track, and again, 75% fuel limit for this series. Fuel window should take these drivers to about lap 43. But a lot of implications on the line. We've seen these drivers the last time we were at the quad oval shaped 1.5 miles for this series with a lot of passing at Charlotte.
Well, here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, we should see a lot of passing, but it's going to be a competitive race. We'll see drivers be able to pull it on the inside, on the outside. It's really going to be who can make it work wherever they feel comfortable. So here as we get ready to see the Ford First Mustang pace car pull down, Scottless Rambler gets ready to lead him to the green, Justin.
Yes, indeed. Rambler, the control car, in the red and black Ford Mustang on the outside line. It's David Weishart. Pace car goes off the track. Everyone's all set to go. Green flags up at the stand. We're underway from Texas Motor Speedway for the Texas 222.
And right there, that was what Rambler needed to be comfortable here on the start. You've got the second row. They're battling there. You've got the 33 Weishart on the outside. He's going to fall into third, drop down the inside. Jay Pryor falls into second.
All right, at the top four single file, but Hendricks yet to find the bottom and fifth spot. As everyone tries to follow, Scott List Rambler. Different line taken by second by Jane Pryor. Ruddy opens up the bottom side for David Weishart. They'll be side by side for second, but Scott List Rambler leads the first lap of 148 tonight from Texas.
And we're going to be watching the suck up here tonight, especially with the first 5, 6, 7 laps here in the run. Rambler, you see, he gets a little bit of separation going through the corner, down the back straightaway. He seems to maintain it. Going down the front straightaway, though, in the quad oval, you see these drivers, they'll pull right back in. They'll have a shot going into 1 and 2.
And you can see how many drivers are preferring this bottom line on the short run as well, as the track is starting to heat up a little bit as the rubber gets laid down. Side by side continues for second spot. But it's going to be important, I think, tonight, Steve, to try and make sure you manage the tire wear, because with this package we've seen, drivers can fall back like crazy if they burn their tires too early trying to fight for positions, like we're seeing with Mueller leaving the bottom side a slight touch open.
Yeah, Mueller's going to have to hold it there on the inside, keep the 29 machine of Haynes behind him, and it's a very important point, but it's a balance that you have to take very carefully. You don't want to lose spots, but you also don't want to push your tires too hard here these first 5 laps. After about 5, 6, 7 laps, it does start to loosen up generally here, especially at a track with a lot of sun like Texas. So if you fall back, it's tough to pass, but if you run them off too early, then you get passed.
And it can be difficult to try and get those spots back once the dirty air can come into play past, say, lap 15 with this package already on lap number 548. 23 drivers on the lead lap. Jerry Glenn did miss the start. He is 4 laps down, a minute 49 seconds back. But they are continuing to shuffle around for second spot. Weishart holds on to Jay Pryor, while Mueller moves back into P4. And Morris now starting to drop back as the bottom side opens back open for the Primetime Motorsports car.
Well, and I tell you what, right now is it looks like Weishart's looking to the outside of the leader. Something that we're also going to have to pay attention to is aero tightness. You get behind a driver, you lose the downforce on your nose, and it pushes you up the track. That's what happened the last lap around for Mueller as he looks underneath the number 80 of Jay Pryor. He's going to be there. He's going to have the run. He might be able to clear him here coming off the corner, as it looks like we also might have a battle of Weishart and Rambler for the lead.
Weishart tries to go to the outside line, gets to the corner panel of Rambler. They go near side by side into turn 1 as Rambler sends it on the white line. The question is, though, can he hold on to the momentum, able to hold on to the lead down the backstretch as they shuffle around for third. But as you mentioned a little bit there, that aero tightness can come into a factor. We've seen the 27 hit the wall at Auto Club. That led to an incident, mind you, with Rob Haynes just last week. This is going to come into a big play, I think, absolutely, as the track continues to heat up and rubber in.
And this is something we talked about a lot in Indianapolis. You go side by side, it slows you down. And right now, the 27 of Mueller's on the inside, Jay Pryor on the outside. Now you've got a whole lot of drivers sitting right behind them, and they're like, hey, we're ready to go. But that side-by-side racing kind of creates a little bit of a roadblock, slows you down about 1/10 of a second per lap there, as Jay Pryor cuts off the number 29 in the quad oval there. And he's going to be able to get down to the inside. We'll see what he does here in 1 and 2. But it looks like that number 80 is going to get tight, slide up the racetrack, and here comes the 29 as he clips the wall.
Able to avoid just barely. In fact, getting a slight touch of damage is Jay Pryor, as that opens up the revolving door on the bottom side. And that's the main worry, though, when it comes to racing hard this early. You burn up that right front tire, especially with this package. It ends up leading to less on throttle time, Steve, as we've seen many times. And it can, in turn, lead to situations like that where you're tapping the wall and having to lose spot.
Well, and I tell you what, as painful as wearing out the right front tire is, you don't want to wear out the right rear tire. The more you lean on that right front, the more pressure you're going to put on that right rear. And what you'll find about 10, 15 laps into a run, not only will you be pushing tight, but the more you correct it, coming off the corner, that right rear tire is going to be hot, and you're going to be sliding off the corner. So it's a big balance all the way around the car that you got to find here. Is Scottless Rambler right now, he's about a quarter of a second ahead of that 33 Weishart. Weishart's running a little bit higher on the racetrack, and then Rambler's connected right to the bottom there. They've got a little bit of breakaway from Mueller, Haynes, and Hendricks for the top 5.
The thing is, though, Tyler Hallman, you seen him a moment ago, is now the driver starting to get on the move. He's the first driver to use the high line, and he's already moved up to 6th position as a result. Now we're trying to attack Davey Hendricks to try and get the run down the hill. And this is something you were talking about. 2 or 3 different lines can open up by about this point on a green flag run, and Hallman is now trying to squeeze up Hendricks and making contact.
Gee, I don't really think you want to do contact here on lap 12, but it's one of those things that inside line after you've run the high side gets so tight so quickly. So the 52 there on the inside, Tyler Hallman, he's going to have to figure out what's going on as he's pushing up again in 1 and 2. Davey Hendricks on there on the outside, a little bit of contact almost coming off the corner. And here comes the number 7 of Ed Morris looking to the inside, and you've got Jay Pryor and the 73 of Alan Fox sitting right there behind him. The 52, he was making some headway there, as you called it, Justin, but he's going to have to get that car back under control and figure out how to make the attack on the 44.
Trying to be a little patient this time, it looks like, on back to the high side, and Morris is now trying to follow Hallman as well in that line. Difference is, though, Morris trying to diamond off the corner. Hallman trying to ride the high line, now having some help to try and battle for that 5th spot. Can't make anything work. But look who's starting to make some moves behind. Alan Fox is starting to gain back some track position just behind this. Has just moved by Jay Pryor for P number 8.
And while we're talking about drivers making the moves, and Jay Pryor falling back outside that top 5, he started 3rd and is currently sitting there in 9th. Let's turn our attention really quick to the number 81 machine, Travis Pryor. He's outside the top 10, moving his way up through the field. He started in 23rd. And now he's up to 14th, and he's making his way up. He's got the 66 of Bobby Tinch right behind him. But he's a driver to keep your eyes on. He's been starting in the rear of the field for whatever reason the last couple rounds here in the Ricmotech Cup Series. But that number 81 machine, he's up to 14th, so he might have something figured out. He's making those passes early. And it's important here with this new package to figure out how do you need to make passes, because passing is so important here within the first 10 laps. And if you can do it not only in the first 10 laps, but later in the run, you might have something figured out.
Yeah, Travis, for reference sake, only had 1 qualifying lap. And for those that have ran this package on the iRacing service, usually it's an extra 3 to 5 tenths minimum on the 2nd lap gain. That in turn helped him to 2nd to last in qualifying, and is now trying to find a way to get by 13th. Wimbish opens up the door for 12th. Well, Hunt is now side by side with Travis Pryor, getting the draft off the back end of Wimbish as he continues to try and move his way up the field in the hostile grips machine. Wimbish is also, meanwhile, mind you, on just +1 since the drop of the green flag, but was one of the quicker cars in the grid so far with the draft here.
We'll definitely have to keep our eyes on him here tonight as he moves up through the field. He completes the pass on the 00 machine and Nick Hunt, so that's going to move him up another spot. And we've got plenty of battles still up towards the top 5. The top 2 are still separated, but Michael Mueller and Robert Haynes, they're still following each other really tight there going into 1 and 2. It kind of looks like the number 29 machine's not really putting a lot of pressure on the number 27, kind of waiting for maybe a mistake or something out of him there. Probably his crew chief there sitting on the pit box telling him the same thing that I was talking about earlier. You go side by side, you slow both cars down, so they have a little bit of separation. Davey Hendricks, Tyler Hallman to round out top 5, top 6 there. These 2 drivers kind of in their own little time zone, trying to close in on David Weishart and M. Scott Bliss Rambler in the lead.
Yeah, right now they are running the exact same pace, Mueller and Haynes, basically, compared to Rambler and Weishart. You're looking on board with David Weishart, the 3rd place driver in the point standings, just 8 points back of Alan Fox in the standings. But he's been slowly but surely chipping into this gap off of turn 4. The thing is, though, Rambler's been better off of 1 and 2, which has been making it hard, really, to reel him in most of the time. It's also why Ramler's been a couple hundredths quicker the past 2 times around, I think, here, Steve.
Yeah, we'll have to see here, as it looks like a lot of drivers are really starting to get to that point in the run where the cars are starting to change for them. Just that last time through 1 and 2, I just saw the 52 Tyler Hallman. He pushed higher and higher and higher, and just like that, Ed Morris was able to get around him, and now Ed Morris in the number 7 machine, he's going to set his sights to the number 44, who's sitting there right now in 5th. So Ed Morris might be on the way forward. Jay Pryor was able to hold off Alan Fox in the 8th position. So Jay might be on his way back up towards the top 5 or so. What's so exciting about Texas Motor Speedway is even in the first 10-15 laps or so, if you're slow, or if it looks like you're slow, it really just could be because you're saving the tires. And a lot of these other drivers, I know I as a driver, I just go 100% out. Whatever happens, happens. But about 20 laps in is where I start to struggle, and you see those other drivers who saved a little bit start to pass me. So we've got a lot of variables out here in this first run. Of course, we have pit stops in the next 15 laps or so. So we'll have to see what happens when we come to pit road. But really, Justin, right now, this is an interesting start to the run. We're starting to see some of the drivers turn to the middle line, turn to the high line, and we'll have to see what happens on the second run.
I was just about to ask you, actually, about that set strategy. You said about 15 laps or so, expecting drivers. How would you decipher how the strategy should go for tonight for these drivers, especially with just 14.02 gallons in the tanks compared to, say, 18 gallons in many other different races?
Well, there's a couple different strategies to take tonight. If you're a points guy and you know you need the points, I would come down early. Come down early, get the fresh tires. You're going to be picking up almost 2 seconds per lap. Right now we're running about 30.5 to 31 seconds per lap. So you're going to get about 1.5 to 2 seconds per lap. And that right there, you do that 2 or 3 times around and you gain a lot of time. But that's going to come back to you when the other drivers come down pit road, get those fresh tires. So you need to be on your game and you need to be able to stick with it. You got to hold those drivers off, or else you're going to go back in the field. But if you're a driver where you're good in the points, you really don't need to worry about it too much, I would honestly ride this out as far as I can, see if I get a caution, and then get the fresh tires a little bit later than everybody else and just push back through the field. There's a couple different strategies to take tonight, and it really depends on where you're at, not only in the race standings, but what do you need for the point standings here as we're getting closer and closer to the chase, Justin.
I agree on terms of that, especially with that. Keep in mind, the driver that's on the bubble tonight is 16th Darren Clement, and a mix of multiple different drivers. The biggest mover, the big highest position of the drivers outside the top 10 entering tonight, though, has been Davey Hendricks in that 5th position. However, that could change for the M&M's Toyota just up the road. As you can see, Ed Morris has gotten close to him once more. A little bit tight was Hendricks at a 2 last time by. Morris getting a little bit quicker off corner exit with that drop.
And as we start getting ready to see the next, or the first round of green flag pit stops here if we stay green, Justin, let's go through the field a little bit here through the top 10. We got M. Scottless Ramler. He's been out in front, out in charge the entire race so far. David Weishart in the number 33 machine is right behind him there. He's right on that middle line trying to make the gains on the 57, but the 57's got it figured out on the inside line. And then we look back to third with Michael R. Mueller. He's about a second, maybe a little bit further back. He's sitting there in third with Robert Haynes a little bit further behind him in fourth, the number 29 machine. And then to round out the top 5, Davey Hendricks, who's he's bobbled back and forth, but he's been able to stabilize at that 5th position. And he's sitting there in that number 44 machine, just kind of waiting for something to happen there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed Morris still riding behind Hendricks right now at the moment by about a car length and a half. Tyler Hallman also in this group of drivers now. Jay Pryor, after being as high as 2nd in the first 10 laps, has settled down in 8th position at the back of this pack. Alan Fox, Tommy Haynes rounds out the top 10. For these drivers, lap 30 of 148 with 118 to go this time by. At this point, though, say you're those drivers that are battling for the back half of the top 10. What's it going to take to catch Rambler? Throw that out the window, though, as a caution is out for Gary May. Gary May in turn 3 brings out the first yellow.
And that right there is, well, I don't want to say it changes everything, but it changes the entire first run there. We'll pull it up on the LSR TV replay. But the number 10 machine of Gary May he clipped the outside wall, slid back down to the inside, and kind of drifted back and forth and spun it out going into 3. He did a really good job keeping it out of the way of other drivers, but unfortunately for that number 10 machine, he's going to have some damage to fix, and now we have our first caution of the night here on lap 30.
And you're seeing that replay now up on your screen. It started all the way from the exit of turn 2, and he just couldn't save it. That's where he got that left side damage and couldn't get the car stopped where it didn't go on the racing surface. That brings out the caution flag, and that means the pit window is open for everyone. Just unfortunate, just couldn't save that car that whole straightaway.
And I tell you what, if you're a spectator and you haven't done it here on iRacing, it might be easy to say, well, what the heck happened? How did he lose it? But there's a lot of things that until you're behind the race car, it is hard to feel what it feels like. And as soon as that number 10 caught the wall, he drops to the inside. You can almost see it there in the replay. You get a lot of body roll, and basically what happens is it's almost like that right side of the car is completely off the track. And Justin, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about there.
Yep.
You get that overcorrection, and there's nothing you can do. It's so tough to hold on to.
Yeah, it feels like it weight shifts, and in turn, it makes it nearly impossible. It ends up leading to overcorrections. And in the end, unfortunately there for May, significant damage. The driver that stayed out, by the way, with this caution flag you see is Gillen. He has stayed out for a majority of caution flags on the first time around. That has helped him lead 4 of the 6 races so far. But the first driver out of the pit lane, for reference sake though, is still Scott List Rambler. As you see him as well as May duck down to the pit lane here. I was about to ask you for that caution. What's it going to take to try and get by Scott List Rambler, who has been in control of this race since the drop of the green flag?
Well, really, what I'm going to say to that there, Justin, is it's going to be, you've got to figure out whatever line Rambler's not running in front of the field, you've got to figure out how to be fast at it. And what makes it tough here with this new package is you might be slower at the start of the run if you commit to that line. But after a few laps, your tires might be a little bit cooler, you might have a little more grip, and you'll start making those passes again. So as a driver, it's really tough, especially here at Texas Motor Speedway, to figure out if what you're doing is the right line. You really don't know until you commit to it and you see what it looks like over 15, 20 laps. And as a driver, if you see that you're a little bit slower for the first 10 laps, you might give up pretty quickly. But you really do need to stick with it because you might be faster on the long run, but if you give up too quickly or you lose too many spots, you really can't have that, you can't have that line anymore.
Yeah, and again, as we've seen in many cases, on top of that, the difficulty of just trying to hold on to said lead on the restart. And even then, the earlier you go, the more you pull away, but once you get on the exit turn 2, we've seen this even at peak level, you'll get reeled back in by that draft, and it becomes essentially a 3-lane blocking fest to try and make sure you're holding onto the lead through 3.
Exactly, and you don't, it's like that careful balance I talked about here at the start of the race. It's what you got to keep in the back of your mind all night long. You don't want to run it too hard if you're trying to move through the field and then get passed by everybody when your tires are wore out. But you also don't want to take it too easy and then get passed by everybody, because passing does get very hard 15, 20 laps into a run. So it's a very careful balance here, but getting ready to get the green flag here after our first yellow of the night. Scott List Rambler is going to be leading him down to the green flag. Rob Haynes on the outside, number 29. Davey Hendricks and Michael Mueller going to be in that second row there, excuse me. And then David Weishart and Tyler Hallman for the third round, and rounding out the top 5 there, the number 33 machine. That's going to be the furthest back he's been all night. So we'll see how Weishart manages traffic here as the Ford First Mustang pace car pulls it down pit road. Over to you, Justin, for the start.
Yes, indeed. The sim graphics Ford Mustang in control of the field as we get back underway for lap 35. Green flags back waving. We're racing once more here in Texas. And a very big start on the bottom for Rambler. That opened up the door for Rob Haynes and Mueller to get to the bottom.
And just like that, you see all these drivers, really the entire top 5, almost top 10, trying to get down the inside. Rob Haynes in the number 29 gets a run, and here comes the 27 right behind him. All on top of each other. The number 29 chooses the middle line, tries to get down, get that draft off the corner off the number 57. You got battles behind him, 2, almost 3 wide there as David Weishart looks into the number 44 machine. And right now, it's the entire top 10 right on top of each other.
Top 10 always separated by 0.8 of a second. Hendricks yet to find the bottom, though. Out of the front, though, Rob Haynes trying to get the draft on the back end of Scott List. Rambler checks up, though, as he ends up following the same tire tracks. Davey Hendricks, though, battles side by side for third spot. Mueller moves up to the high side as Hendricks moves up to P number 3 at the stripe. Meanwhile, the Priors just behind them are now toe-to-toe in 8th and 9th as the battles heat up for the top 10.
Yeah, the battles are heating up in the top 10. The top 5, though, goes single file yet again. David Weishart clears the number 52, a Hallman.
Oh, trouble down the backstretch. Trouble down the backstretch. It's the 80. One of the Priors, multiple drivers involved. Jay Pryor, caution flags out. Dylan Clement involved. Ed Morris involved. Tommy Haynes involved in a big-time incident down the backstretch with point implication.
Yeah, this one's going to have point implications for sure, Justin, here. As the LSR TV replay gets ready to be pulled up. Not entirely sure what happened. It looks like the number 7 machine, Ed Morris, he might have caught the outside wall and maybe a little bit of net code there coming down the back straightaway, and that caught the number 80 machine. That turned him sideways, and pretty much they slid down the entirety of the back straightaway. But as big of a wreck as that looked like with everybody checking up, it looks like only maybe 4 drivers caught damage in it.
Yeah, but one of the drivers that got damage in it, though, was that driver in 10th place in the point standings, Dylan Clement. So that ends up collecting him, along with Jay Pryor, Ed Morris, the 00 of Nick Hunt, and Tommy Haynes, all involved in that incident. That brings up the caution flag as everyone ducks back down to the pit lane. Only a couple laps on these tires. This is going to make it interesting now for the strategy all of a sudden, as you see the incident on the replay.
As we take a look at that accident on the replay there, this caution right here pretty much sets us up to where we almost would have been if we would have stayed green on that first green flag run. But what it does do is it sets us all in the same pit strategy. So we might have something interesting happen here. I don't know if we're quite within range of 2 pit stops. We're going to be, honestly, it really depends. I think we're right on the edge of 2 more pit stops here, Justin.
Yeah, but drivers were in the range, it looks like, to take 2 tires. Davey Hendricks takes 2 tires. Tyler Hallman as well. Mike Franklin also moves up 18 spots since the drop of the green flag to 4th out of the pit lane. So strategy by multiple drivers in the field. Purdue and Gillen still have to potentially come down the lane. But this is something we've seen from drivers if there's a quick yell within 5 laps with this package here, Steve. Drivers have actually been open and saying, even at tracks like Las Vegas, they felt more comfortable on 2.
And it's not a bad strategy. Here at Texas, I almost want to say it depends on how comfortable you are with the track. At Indianapolis, we saw Gillen in that number 40 machine. He stayed out on, I think it was either 0 tires or 2 tires at one point, and he was a sitting duck. Let's just be honest there. But here at Texas, what's interesting about this speedway is you have more than one line that you can run. So if you're a little bit slower, pick the line that kind of blocks everyone behind you and keeps the momentum up. So if you took 2 tires, you might not be in the worst shape, especially if you're outside the top 10 and you want to pick up some spots. But it's really going to depend on the restart here. Davey Hendricks in that number 44 machine, he's been inside the top 5 most of the night. Tyler Hallman, he's been right about there as well. We see some other drivers inside the top 10. They've made a lot of passes here tonight, but it looks like we got a little bit of cloud coverage here right now as well, Justin. So the track might have a little more grip. So really, honestly, it looks like right now might be a good time to take those 2 tires. because the track might have more grip than it will a little bit later.
Yeah, it's already gone down to 89 degrees Fahrenheit for reference sake for the drivers with this cloud. So this might actually, as you said, help the drivers on 2 tires. The thing is, though, while there's the positivities of track position, maybe being able to hold more on throttle time, there's also that risk, I think, Steve. On top of that, we've seen a couple times of a little bit more looser off the corner exit, which means, as we talked about, having to get off the throttle. One of the drivers that took 2 is the guy we're on board with, David Weishart, in 7th. This could be a slight gamble, but if the drivers are able to handle it, I think, Steve, this could pay off for a lot of these drivers that gain a lot of net position.
It's really going to just have to depend, and maybe we can stay on board with the number 33 of Weishart there in 7th for this restart. Just get a feel for what it's like as a driver here, getting on these restarts. The number 81, he's going to have a couple cars in front of him. When I say a couple cars, I mean a few cars. He's outside of the top 5. So it's going to be an interesting feel here if we can go on board with the number 81 machine getting ready. The Ford First Mustang pace car will be pulling down. We got Davey Hendricks in the number 44 machine. It's his first time leading him to the green flag here tonight. Tyler Hallman on the outside. This is going to be probably one of the more interesting restarts of the night. So Justin, strap them tight. We're going to have a good one here.
This is going to be an exciting restart for sure. Multiple drivers with mixed strategies. First driver on 4 tires is Rambler. Hendricks and Hallman on 2. Pace cars off the track. Bunching them as Hendricks. Green flag waves. We're back racing. And a big time jump for the M&M's Toyota.
Here's the start of the interesting restart. You got the 44 Hendricks clearing them there. Taking a look midfield there in the mid-top 10. You got the 81. That's going to be Pryor going middle line, trying to make things happen. And then you got drivers all the way around him trying to figure out where they want to go. Almost 3 wide going into 3. And there goes the 57 Rambler underneath Hendricks there. It looks like he's going to clear him. Here comes the number 29 right behind him.
The 4 tires of Rambler retakes the lead. Rob Haynes falling in the hole as they're side by side for second spot. Travis Pryor also trying to use his 4 tires on the bottom side. They stay side by side for second, but it seems the momentum carrying for 4 tires early on in this start. Hendricks, though, trying to make that high side still work as they're still side by side, 2-3 car lengths deep. Rob Haynes, though, dives into the inside line, side by side for the race lead. The FEG Ford gets the lead at the stripe this time by. Question is, can he keep as they're 3 wide behind?
And right now they're 3 wide behind, but they're 3 wide right there for that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. A little bit of contact coming across the stripe, but look at Travis Pryor in the number 81 machine. He started in 23rd, and he's on the inside. The number 29, Rob Haynes on the outside. Davey Hendrick giving him a shove going into the corner. And it looks like Travis Pryor's going to lead lap number 44 here at Texas Motor Speedway after being involved in that last accident.
And the series leader in led laps leads his first one of the day. Was also the fastest lap of the race at 28.789 so far in this one. They're still side by side and bump drafting for second. Rambler wants to retake the lead though. Back to the white line on the inside. Nearly avoids the bumps. Still trying to side draft the left rear of the 81 machine on that high side. Pryor leads at the stripe, but it's a 2x2 drag race for the race lead once more.
And Pryor with that very, very slight back bumper damage, it was able to get repaired there. We saw the other Pryor machine get a lot more damage, but Travis Pryor was able to get it fixed, and you can see him here on the outside battling with the number 57 Rambler on the inside. He's going to try to pinch him a little bit coming off turn 4. 57 on the inside line has a big old run. He's able to get the lead lap. But we got the entire top 5. Throw them under a blanket, Justin. They're all right there.
Yeah, they're all within 2-3 tenths of a second. But Rambler gets single file, takes the race lead back on lap 47. However, Travis Pryor wants to retake it. Can't get the run, though, as he gets single file for the top 2 spots. But Hendricks is really trying to fight with those 2 tires on that high line. He is trying to work as hard as he can, it looks like, to try and keep himself his track position.
And we have a lot of battles, Justin, throughout the entire top 10, but right now all eyes on the top 5. And it's really, we're going to be seeing some of these drivers start to pop up the outside line, try to make it work. We'll see what happens here with the second place position. Travis Pryor in that number 81 machine. He's got a big time draft on the 57. Looks to the outside and trial goes to his back bumper. Going to turn 1 and 2. He's right there on the inside line. He sticks there. But Rob Haynes in number 29 machine, here he comes on the inside, trying to reclaim that second place position here on lap number 49.
Pryor had to check up a touch, has to check up more though in corner entry as Haynes gets to the inside line, rides the white line once more to get the nose ahead. However, the run still keeps the side-by-side battle together. This is still very intense, mind you, just a few laps after this past restart. 2 caution flags so far, 99 laps to go, 98 this time by, as Rambler tries to take advantage of the drivers with their side draft in that drag race down the backstretch.
Incredible battles up towards the front, Justin, but let's not forget we got drivers 20 positions deep on the lead lap there. I'm taking a look right now, Bobby Tinch outside the top 10 in the 13th position right now. He's battling with Bryce Senesac. You've also got a couple of other drivers back there in the mix. John Sterling was able to get by the 66 the last lap. We'll have to see here how these drivers maneuver if they get inside the top 10. But as we've seen all season long, we've had a lot of drivers go back and forth. And with that back and forth, Justin, Michael Mueller, a driver we saw within the top 5, he's sitting in 8th. Really in a gaggle of cars. They're 2x2 there. He's trying to get by the 33 and the 52 in front of him, but kind of just stuck on the outside, Justin.
Yeah, nowhere to go. The 2 drivers in front of him, mind you, are on 2 tires. The driver he's side by side with and himself are on 4 tires. Mueller with the run has to check up, nearly goes up the hill into turn 3. However, Weishart finally gets the run the outside, starting to work it looks like now on this run. Able to get that spot past his teammate. Mueller follows his way through though. That again is for P's 5 and 6, with Mueller wanting to take that high side away from Weishart now. And hold on a second, right behind them, the 52 of Holman having to check up big time as Wimbish nearly hooked his back bumper.
As I was just about to say there, you saw that. That could have been a very big moment here. You saw a lot of drivers have to check up for that, including Alan Fox, David Elliott, all those drivers right there for the top 10. David Weishart on the outside. Here comes the 52 of Hallman down on the inside line, trying to make that pass. He's going to be able to clear him there. Here comes the number 82 of Franklin on his inside. Wimbish looking to follow through as well down the back into turn 3. Side by side they go. You're not missing anything up front. They've separated a bit. Side by side coming out of 4. Here comes the 56, making some progress on Weishart on the outside line.
And mind you, that car that's blocking both the lines needs points badly. That's Mike Franklin, 11th coming into the night, 6 points back of Darren Clement, who was involved in that incident a few cautions ago. Franklin in a great position, holding on to P7 and trying to defend Wimbish Weishart as well as the points leader, Alan Fox. A much-needed race, I think, for Mike Franklin with some of the attrition early on already to try and hold on to these drivers. Yes, it's early, but he's in a great points position so far in this one.
And then taking a look back up towards the top 3, Scott List Rambler, he does have a little bit of a breakaway, about 0.2 of a second over the 81 of Travis Pryor. Pryor's the biggest mover of the night from 23rd to 2nd there. As we've seen over the last couple of weeks, that's been the strategy Travis takes. It seems to work, so I can't knock him on it. He's holding off Robert Haynes right there in the number 29 machine as he looks down the inside line. They've got some room behind him to Davey Hendricks and Michael Mueller. Michael Mueller moved back up into that 5th position after being in 8th for a little bit there. So really the top 5, they're within 2 seconds of each other, and then you have a little bit more of a gap. But we'll have to see here as the run goes on, Justin, who is able to do what as we push on.
And I'm curious what especially Michael Mueller can go and do. If we go back to P4, those 4 fresh tires are now diving their way underneath Davey Hendricks as Hendricks gives him the inside line, and it looks like the spot, yes, checks up down the backstretch to make sure he can come up. Muir looks like the fastest car on the track right now. Mind you, remember, he, as well as the rest of the top 4, all took 4 under that last caution flag.
And I can't tell you enough, Justin, this is what makes Texas so exciting. Not only do you get 2, 3 different lines, but you get different strategies that work. Some tracks, you take 2 tires, even if it's 2 or 3 laps in, you're out of luck. But here at Texas Motor Speedway, if you do it right, you can make it work. 2 tires, 4 tires, whatever feels best for your car. And that's what we're seeing right now as the run goes on. This is incredible racing right now as we're getting to lap 60.
Should note that driver you've seen on the apron, that's Tommy Haynes, appears to be now slow in the 110s. And it's now finally picking up speed. Was involved in the first caution of the day, and it just came out of the pits and is trying to just gain as many points as possible. For second spot, though, Rob Haynes has been sticking to the back end of Travis Pryor like glue this entire run so far. Just 8 1/1000ths of a second quicker last time by was Haynes compared to the Chevrolet in front of him.
And I'd be interested to kind of get a feel for what's going on inside that number 29 machine. I wonder if he's just hanging out. I wonder if he's waiting. He's still within striking distance of the leader, but he's not really using up that car, or at least it doesn't look like he is. So he could be waiting. He could be just waiting for Travis Pryor there, that number 81 machine, get a little bit high. Have to check back up. Right now we've got a little more cloud coverage yet again here at Texas Motor Speedway. And that right there could change everything. I know as a driver, when I have cloud coverage, I'm a lot better than when the track is hot and slick. So we'll have to see if anyone makes any big differences here as we have a couple laps of a little bit of cloud coverage. Who makes a move, who doesn't?
Yeah, essentially, the cooler the track goes, the more grip there is, right? So that can help drivers. And one of the things that helped actually from the last build back in June was before the temperatures would swing dramatically. Now, they take a bit longer now, a lot longer in fact, to get back up when there's clouds such as this. And while it takes a little bit slower to cool down, that can mean a major factor as the race goes on, as the track doesn't say go up to the 94s from the green flag and holds on to this spot. Speaking of spots, Hendricks trying to hold on to Tyra Hallman. Hallman loses a car length and a half into turn 3.
Yeah, Hallman's going to be there on the outside trying to get the momentum into the quad oval. He's not quite going to be able to get to his back bumper looking at turns 1 and 2. He's got a little bit of draft. He goes to the high side there, the 52 machine, keeping it wound up. We'll see coming down the back straightaway if he can get to that 5th position, that number 44 machine. He's going to have a little bit of draft and a bit of a run. Going into 3 and 4, the 52 of Hallman committed to the outside line. And it looks like he's going to have a run yet again, Justin, but not quite there to that number 44 machine. We'll keep our eyes on this battle as it shapes out. The 52 looking, gives a slight tap to the 44, still on the outside in 1-2.
That looked more than a slight tap. That was a shot heading into turn 1. He's got a huge run this time to the backstretch, loses it. Hendricks into the wall. Hallman tries to save it, slams the wall, collects multiple drivers. Caution flag is out. Mike Franklin with a destroyed front end from that. An absolute big point implication wreck once more.
And that right there, that was absolutely insane, Justin. It looks like that number 52, and I'm sure we'll pull it up here on the LSR TV replay. 52 dove the inside, and just like what we saw earlier with that like counter steer situation with the suspension rolls to one side, I can almost guarantee that's exactly what happened there with the hot, slick tires. You pull an aggressive move to the inside, and now you've got big trouble there. But it looks like the 52, he's going to be done for the night. The number 44 machine, Davey Hendricks, he might be able to salvage something with that car.
Yeah, remember Hendricks, the winner at Auto Club last week, and was strong at Charlotte the last time around a D-shaped mile-and-a-half circuit. Now with some damage on that M&M's Toyota Camry. Take a look at the replay, though, as you see him slam hard the left side of the nose into the fence. But as you said, that weight shift from Hallman was pretty interesting. You have to, if you look on the onboard, you mentioned the weight shift, major flick of the wrist, ends up causing the contact down the backstretch with no chance to save it as he slammed that wall. The unfortunate thing in the incident, though, was Mike Franklin. We mentioned him 11th in the point standings entering tonight. Got destroyed trying to avoid that driver as he slammed the right side wall. Drivers in the pits, though, now, and are all back on 4 tires with fresh fuel with 82 laps to go. First driver out of the pit lane, Rambler, then Haynes, Travis Pryor. And the biggest mover and part of that pit stop cycle, though, was John T. Wimbish into the top 5 after the attrition.
And we're going to have to keep our eyes. Some of these drivers, I almost want to go and say, drivers who start outside the top 5, the top 10, who have to make those passes all night long, they're almost better equipped than the drivers within the top 5 that only had to race around 1, 2 different drivers. As we've seen with Travis Pryor all season long, that number 81 machine starts in the back. I think that right there adds a little bit of something to his toolbox as the night goes on.
I mean, Travis Pryor actually came into tonight with the highest average starting position at 5.33 this season. However, as we mentioned, it's been a battle to try and get to the field. The cautions actually, I think, really help you if you feel like you got speed, because that bunches everyone up. That allows you to pass cars, which is much more harder to try and reel in drivers from, say, 2 seconds back on a long run with this package.
Yeah, we'll just have to see it here as we line up. You got a lot of drivers trying to make some strategy calls here. We're going to have, I think we're right at that point where we got one more pit stop in the books here, probably around lap 100, 105, somewhere in there. And so this restart right here, if we don't get another caution, could be interesting. And if we do get another caution, it's going to be even more interesting.
Gonna get very curious and interesting, I think, absolutely, if we get an error caution flag. Should note Nick Hunt is looking to get a wave around. He is 26 laps down and trying to potentially gain points on a couple drivers that are involved in some of the incidents. The way they're lined up, Rambler first, Rob Haynes now on the outside for this restart in second, Travis Pryor third, John T. Wimbish fourth, Alan Fox, his highest position so far, the points leader, will start fifth. John Sterling plus 11 from the drop of the green flag, a good pit stop into sixth. Michael Mueller, Adam Eisenhower, Bobby Tinch, Bryce Senesac round out the top 10 as they line up for the restart. As it looks like, pardon me, Rambler has chosen the outside line for the restart compared to the inside that we've seen every other time so far in this race.
And I really don't think it'll affect him too bad if he gets a good restart here. Honestly, I always prefer the outside line. We'll just have to see how Rob Haynes, the number 29 machine, is on the inside. And sometimes as a driver, when you have the option of going inside or outside, sometimes you want to pick the guy behind you. So maybe perhaps Rambler would rather have the 56 of Wimbish, who hasn't been out inside the top 10 or top 5 all night long, on his outside. We'll see here as the pace car will be diving down in just a moment, Justin. We're getting ready to go back green flag, going green on lap number 70.
Rambler has been in control of the field much of the night tonight as the Sim Graphics Ford Mustang looks to lead them once more. Pace car off the track. Already the drivers on the outside about a car length ahead. The green flag waves. Rambler brings them past the start and finish line with 79 laps to go.
And that right there is the kind of restart that Rambler needs. On the high side, he clears everybody there. Wimbish stuck on the high side, the number 29. He's got Travis Pryor looking to his inside down the back straightaway as they get the draft and the run. Down on the inside, Travis Pryor looking for that second position. The number 29 stuck on the high side. He's not going to be able to hang with them as they suck right up to that number 57 machine. Here comes Travis Pryor looking for the lead.
Pryor gave him a shot, wants to try and get the inside line. Rambler tries to defend, gets on the bumper once more, goes Travis Pryor, forced to check up as he hits the inside apron bump. And they stay single file for first and second. John T. Wimbish, though, now to try to re-attack Rob Haynes for the third position. Side by side, they go for third into turn 3, while Pryor tries to get the run heading into the quad oval.
Yeah, Pryor tries to get the run, and he gets it there. Wimbish, he's side by side with Haynes, and here comes Pryor on the outside of Rambler going into 1 and 2. That high side is going to give you a lot of momentum down the back straightaway, but where do you go with it? He drops back down the inside line, comes back up, he gets the draft, side by side contact.
Whoa. Saving it is Rambler, forced to the apron though. Trying to find his way to come back on the track. He stays on the apron, but that's going to lose him multiple positions. Bad luck for Scott List Rambler as he'll drop outside the top 10 after the contact.
And I tell you what there, Justin, I can't quite say that's anyone's fault. That's very tight racing for the top spot here at Texas. And that right there, the slightest bit of contact moves Rambler to 11th position from the lead, but the battle's not over.
Trying to hold on now is Travis Pryor after the door-to-door contact. Rob Haynes, though, looking to get the run, clips the apron, though, as he slides up the hill. And forced to check up as the Vinoy construction machine of Wimbish gets the run to get to the inside. And now, look who's also into the battle. It's Michael Mueller. That's looking to try and lead his first laps of the night.
And you can't look too far away because you got the points leader, Alan Fox, in the number 73 machine there. Oh, as we almost have trouble yet again. Big dive to the inside out of Rob Haynes, the number 29 machine, side by side for the lead. We got the top 5 yet again under a blanket. John Sterling in the number 3 machine. He's making gains as well. Up inside the top 10, started 17th. So we got a lot of talent up here in the top 5 trying to battle for the lead.
4-car battle, nearly making it 5 is Alan Fox. There's still 2 by 2 though for the top spot. Travis Pryor on the high side, inside line Rob Haynes. As the FPG Ford PC tries to ride the white line, might get the nose at the stripe, and is now able to get a half car length ahead at said stripe to get the lead lap. Wimbish though, still fighting hard with Mueller. This is going to get interesting though. The high side might start coming in right in the midst of this battle. Pryor though tries to go for the crossover as Mueller gets the run on the outside, forced to check up.
He gives a little bit of a block there. Pryor does the 27. That causes Mueller, he has to check up slightly. Wimbish gets the run back to the inside, so the 27 caught up on the high side. We'll see here, Pryor, where does he go? Does he go to the outside? He's got Wimbish looking to the inside. He does go to almost the low side, kind of like the middle line there. He probably gets arrow tight, and just like that, Robert Haynes in the number 29 machine gets a little bit of a gap there going down the back, but here we go yet again to 3. Alan Fox and John Sterling, they're side by side for that position. Top 5 trying to single file out.
And look who's in 8th position right behind them. Scott List Rambler is right behind David Elliott, behind that side-by-side battle. So Rambler already up 3 spots in about 10 laps since that contact, and is a man on a mission. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack the past couple laps. Lap traffic, though, on the high line. That would be Mike Franklin as they all move to the bottom side except for Rambler.
Rambler's going to use that high car on the outside to get around the number 42 of David Elliott. He does get the spot. He moves up to 7th. He's got the run. He's got a little bit of draft on Fox. He's going to try to make the gains going in 1 and 2. If you are M. Scott List Rambler right now, Justin, how do you progress through this run as a driver? Because this is going to be the toughest run of the race. Number 57 has not passed a lot of cars this race, so it's going to be tough to figure out what do you do. So Justin, what's your call?
At least with me, the way I think of it is, if I get too aggressive as a driver for this kind of a position, it's going to end up to wearing the tires in an incident. If you try and stay calm and potentially save the tires a bit, and then try and pass them, say, on the outside line, because there's the potential of, say, squeezing a driver down to get the said spot, that in turn can help you in the long run. And it looks like Rambler's now trying to take that strategy a bit. Now in 7th spot and Wayne behind Fox and Sterling to see which driver clears that who, and then goes single file. 68 laps to go on the racetrack. We are just past the halfway point in this event here on the iRacing Esports Network and LSR TV. Let's take a look at the Ford Entertainment Group midway race break while we can, as the action continues to heat up on the racetrack. And as the drivers continue to circulate around, Rob Haynes currently at the point on lap 81, coming to lap 82 with Travis Pryor, John T. Wimbish, Michael Mueller in the top 4. John Sterling in 5th spot, with Scott List Rambler now up to 6th spot after that pass on Alan Fox. Fox in 7th, David Elliott in the back in 8th, David Weishart in 9th, and Bryce Senesac rounds out the top 10, Steve.
And we have plenty of drivers outside the top 10. Adam Eisenhower in that number 86 machine, he's sitting there in 11th. Bobby Tinch, been in and out of the top 10. He's there in 12th. Jerry Glenn, Randy Perdue, Gary May, Joshua Gillen, that's your top 15. Davey Hendricks fallen after that damage there. He's in 17th position. Ed Morris and Jay Pryor rounds out your lead lap drivers. Then you got Mike Franklin. He's in 20th. Darren Clement, Tyler Hallman, Tommy Haynes, and then you've got Nick Hunt, the last car running in the track right now.
That's a look at your FEG Midway Race Break. FEG PC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers, specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get to racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the 600-plus iRacers already enjoying an FEG PC, because PCs are available to fit every budget from $540 on up. Visit www.fegpc.net and mention the code LSRTV10 and get your build quoted today. As that's been going on, the battle for 5th has been heating up. Rambler's been attacking the bottom, while Sterling's been defending on that high side. This time squeezes Rambler, opens up the door again for Fox.
Yeah, Fox is going to have that run to the high side. Something I do want to talk about, we had a little bit of cloud coverage off and on earlier on, but right now what we have, you compare to lap 2 to lap 85, we got a lot more shadow in turns 1 and 2, so that's going to cool the track down in 1 and 2. And as a driver, here's what I would be trying to have my crew chief pay attention to. How do I drive it down on that inside line in 1 and 2, and then use the high side in 3 and 4 to get the momentum into 1 and 2? What do you got to do here right now is a 57 Rambler on the outside trying to battle with the number 42 Elliott there. He's going to have to start thinking about things like that. How do I use these different lines and the evolving racetrack as he dives down to the inside of Fox? He's going to make that dive, and Fox sitting in front of him there in the 73 trying to make a move on the number 3 machine, Sterling. Rambler does make the pass, so we'll see if he can hold him off going to the 1 and 2.
And David Elliott also giving him a shot, a little bit of a bump draft that time heading into turn 1. That actually helps him gain an extra 10th or 2, it looks like, on the corner entry as he tries to reel back in Fox and Sterling for 6th and 5th positions here. But on top of that, you mentioned the track starting to cool down. It's 86 degrees Fahrenheit. We started at 94-ish tonight. The in-sim time is also approaching 6 p.m., so it's going to continue to potentially start dropping as the air starts to cool down on this track, as Fox wants the inside line to try and heat up that battle for 5th again.
And we'll see here as Rambler's going to be sitting there right behind it. The 73 of Fox isn't able to do anything with it. The 57, he got a little bit tight coming off the turn 2 here. He dives down to the inside, trying to get a little bit of a gain on Fox. He's not able to do it there. Up towards the lead, you got Rob Haynes, Travis Pryor, and Wimbish, your top 3. They're separated by a half of a second each, respectively. This is the first big battle that we're watching. You got the 42 machine as well. He's sitting there behind him. David Elliott, he's waiting for a mistake to happen. Here's the 73, gets a little bit of a run on the 3 machine. John Sterling down the back straightaway. He dives down the inside line, going into 3 and 4. Here comes Alan Fox, the points leader, with that consistency we've seen all season long. Moving up into the top 5, he comes.
That time by gets to 5th position, and you mentioned that said consistency as a tech issue pops Fox off the track. Still is going, though, a near disaster, though, for the points leader as he settles back down. But you mentioned that consistency has had the most laps turned on the season. Only 1 non-top 10 finish. 2 poles, the only driver with multiple poles. And 3 straight top 10s. And when you do that, like you have with Fox, that puts you in a good position for a championship, potentially.
And it is oh so important as a driver to not only worry about the race at hand, but the championship war that you're fighting. And it looks like right now Alan Fox has it pretty much figured out. He's not pushing too hard there as he lets Rambler around him. He's probably trying to save those tires. He knows a pit stop's coming in the next 10, 15, 20 laps. But he does have traffic behind him. That number 42 machine. He's right there, David Elliott. David Weishart. They're both on his back bumper. You start letting those drivers by, and you could have 3, 4 cars passing you there as Weishart's on the inside trying to make a pass on the 42. Not able to do it. we got about 4 or 5 cars right on top of each other again.
Yeah, all these drivers bunched up. 3 seconds back in the leader, John Sterling leading the group. As the inside opens up, Weishart not able to get the run, though, as they all try and reel in Michael Mueller now, who is a second ahead of this group, plus just about. Back to single file they go, as Ramler uses the bottom side. A bit faster last time by than John Sterling, forced to check up, though, to avoid tapping the wall. But as this is all shaping out, this is going to get interesting for potential strategy again, as Ramler tries the inside line, tries to slide up, just avoids tapping Sterling, as Sterling would keep the 5th position. But the more they fight like that, the more it wears the tires, and the more urgency it puts towards potential pit stops, as we are about 10 or so laps away from making it on fuel.
And as a driver, it's one of those positions, what do? Do you push for it? Do you not? And right now, the number 3 machine, John Sterling, he's moved through the field, done a great job, just like Travis Pryor, John Wimbish. All those drivers started outside the top 10, but you got that side-by-side battle. Ramler, he's on a mission back into the top 5 there, trying to get back. He wants to battle with Travis Pryor, Rob Haynes, those drivers for that top 5. But right now, he's not able to clear Sterling. 73, Fox, he's sitting there right behind him down the back straightaway. I think what's going to happen now, Justin, as we get closer to these pit stops in the next 10-15 laps, these drivers, they're running out of, I'm not going to say fuel because they're good on fuel, but they're running out of Goodyear Eagles. These tires only have so much grip in them, and if you've been running them all run long, you're going to start getting tight. You're going to get that aero push, and there's only so much you can do about it as a driver. So it's going to come down to strategy. Do you come down 1, 2 laps later? Do you stay out 5 laps later and wait for that caution? What do you do? If you're the leader, Rob Haynes, that number 29 machine, do you set the standard? Do you just bring it down early when you know you're good? There's so many question marks, and really there's no way to answer them until drivers start coming down on pit road, because even when you have it 100% in concrete, that concrete's going to change, Justin.
Absolutely. To reset the stage, 52 laps to go, coming up 51. The reason Ramler is all the way back in 6th was this contact for the race lead. He was able to save it, but dropped to 11th, has gained 5 spots since that said incident, and is trying to regain the track position. Still 4 seconds back of the lead, but has had a good recovery drive since then. Mind you, he also avoided damage from that door-to-door contact.
And that's another thing to think about here, is we've got a lot of drivers right on top of each other. Adam Eisenhower, he made a pass on Weishart. Bryce Senesac, he's moving his way up towards the top 10. We're side by side, Sterling and Ramler again. This for that 5th position. Ramler, he gets tight. He has to check up. You've got Alan Fox in the purple number 73 right behind him. And we get a little more shade and a little more shade in 1 and 2, but we still have plenty of sun in 3 and 4. So as Ramler tries to work on Sterling, he's going to have to figure it out here, because I think Alan Fox might have something for him.
I think he might as well. Fox has been patiently running inside the top 10 much of the day, and is still continuing to see Ramler continue to chew up that right front tire, trying to get the run on the bottom side. Has not been able to find a way by John Sterling. Lap car is ahead, though. Jay Pryor in 19th position is moving to the inside line, running the middle line. In fact, this could potentially open up a possibility for Sterling to use him as a pick. As Sterling gets the run, Sterling forced to check up as Jay Pryor stays up high, but is able to keep the spot. You see Pryor now on your screen as the drivers cut to the inside, as Ramler now tries to get the draft off the lap car.
Yeah, as this battle ensues, continues, you got a lot of variables here in this pack. If you're the number 57 Ramler, you probably have a little tiny bit of damage, not a whole lot, probably nothing even worrying about, but it's there nonetheless. And as a driver, that 57, he's going to be driving with a little more aggression than pretty much anyone else inside that top 10. He got pushed out of the way. That's how he's going to look at it. Even if it was a shared fault, little bit of contact down the back straightaway, that 57 is mad. He wants to get back up there, that top 3. He wants the lead back. Is he going to take that aggression out on everybody? Or is he going to hold it off until he gets up to the top 3? but we're coming closer and closer to pit stops. We're almost within range to go to the checkered flag at this point.
46 laps to go this time by. Couple lap drivers have come down to pit this previous time by, such as Clement. But we continue to roll along. Clement, in fact, is right in front of these cars and forcing them to the inside line this time in the corner entry. And this is going to become more and more of a factor, these lapped cars. First time all race, in fact, really. They've had to deal with them, the drivers on the lead lap.
And I tell you what, as big of a variable as tire wear, anything else is, these lap down cars are 100% unpredictable. You see them coming on your relative, your spotter's letting them know you're there, but unfortunately you just never know what's going to happen. And right now Rambler trying to get around that number 32 machine. He's on the outside, he clears them. Now Alan Fox has to deal with them, but it almost looks like that maybe that 32 has fresher tires, but a bit of damage there. Darren Clement trying to get around these guys, but they're battling side by side. This is for position, and the 32 is a lap down.
And that has actually helped a little bit. Rambler's now saying, I've had enough of this. He's ducking down to the pit lane. He's got the green light for the fuel. First lead driver in as he barely kept it off the grass. So the pit window's open for the leaders. Perdue also following him in. Gillen at the back of the field also follows his way into the lane.
And that right there is what I was talking about 10 minutes ago, Justin. As a driver, do you choose to come down as soon as you get that green light and try to get that maybe second and a half on fresh tires here? Here comes the 29 of Haynes. Travis Pryor dives it in deep. They're going to be side by side down pit road, and every little second counts on pit road. So we'll see here as these guys come on down pit road. We'll be sure to see the rest of Top Town come down in the next lap or two. Justin, this is probably one of the biggest pivotal moments of the race.
You see right now Rambler coming out of the lane. The rest of the leaders coming into the pit stalls as well. Alan Fox, meanwhile, just jumped out of his race car trying to get into his pit stall and can lose some spots. So that could be at least one net position gain. You can see now on the replay the previous leader up on your screen as he runs his way around the racetrack. That is Rob Haynes on the apron of the racetrack. I don't think he's going to catch him, though, as Haynes gets back across the blue cone and onto the racetrack about a couple seconds back still as Rambler.
And this run right here is just going to be so interesting to watch. Rambler, all those drivers that try to pit down, get those fresher tires. Once we cycle out, it'll be clearer to see what's happening where. But right now, there's a lot of variables at play because you still have cars that are out on old tires that could slow someone down. Of course, here with the new pit road entry rules, if that holds you up a little bit, that can slow you down. There's just a lot of things going on right now on the racetrack, Justin, and it's hard as a driver. You've got to rely on your crew chief, on your spotter to let you know what's going on, because it's hard to see just based off your relative who's doing what.
Yeah, and it's still seeing multiple drivers on top of that ducking down to the lane. Amongst the drivers that are still in the lead lap, Bryce Senezak, Adam Eisenhower, David Weishart all came down, as well as Jerry Glenn, who's coming off that top 5 in the Xfinity Series for Extreme Motorsports. Rest of the leaders have come down as they all get up on the jacks, but Rob Haynes is your race leader. He'll pass him on by. You see him at the top side of the screen. Gets by traffic. Retakes the race lead. Rambler gets to second. Wimbish, Muir, and Travis Pryor round out the top 5.
And I'm trying to take a look at my relative, and I'm not 100% sure until track and scoring all updates. But it almost looks like maybe Rambler might cycle out to that second or third position there, Justin. I'll have to see here as we cross the line.
I think so. He was had a 29.2. He's even faster than Wimbish. So yes, he is cycling to P2 after a 1 to 2 lap difference on the rest of the drivers. As you said, you can gain 2 laps by pitting, say, a lap or so earlier. That has put the driver who dominated the first half of this race to his highest point since then, to second, 3.3 seconds back.
And every little second does count, and I tell you what, that one lap, Justin, while it's important for the number 57, it's also not as important for everybody else. They're not really going to be able to be that much faster of him one lap later. So if Ramler continues on his journey here, he stays consistent, that top 5 is definitely something he's going to be able to pursue. And if we get a caution, that track position means absolutely everything, Justin. That's what that calls for. It's not about winning the race for that number 57 at that point. Of course, he does want to do that, but right now it's all about that track position. At one point, he was almost outside the top 10, and now he's in second. So Ramler, he's holding on. He's 3 seconds back from Rob Haynes, the number 29 machine, but he's also got a second and a half behind him, where we've got battles with Wimbish and Mueller behind him.
And don't forget Travis Pryor amongst that group as well. And you may be wondering, what happened to Pryor? Wasn't he in second before pit stops? He was amongst that side-by-side. Now he's driving behind that 27 machine you see on your screen. The reason? Pryor had a 17-second pit stop, the longest stop of the entire field that came in that time by. That put him behind that 27, as well as John T. Wimbish, as well as Ramler, from those 3 seconds lost in the stall.
And right now, it's going to be one of those things, as a driver, you have to stay 100% perfect. As much as I hate to say it here, it's true. You can't make a mistake at this point of the race. Wimbish, right now in that number 56 machine, he's trying to make gains. He's got Michael Mueller behind him. They're trying to make gains as well. Do you battle? Do you just kind of set in line and hope to catch the guy in front of him? Ramler has no draft help essentially in front of him there.
Left car right onto the outside wall, pardon me there. That's Tyler Holman, that forced evasive action. You've seen that from the back view of John T. Wimbish. That was near disaster for 4th and 5th place.
And that was exactly what I was just about to get into. We're going to have those lap down cars scattered throughout the track. We've got about 7, 8 cars. Either they have damage or they're a lap down for whatever reason. Those are like rolling roadblocks if you catch them at the wrong point. If you catch them at a good point, easy. Just go to the inside, go to the outside. But you catch them when you're coming off a corner like that right there, you have trouble big time. So right now, Scottless Ramler, he is closing the gap to the leader. He is coming. He was over 3 seconds back. That last time by, he gets it down to 3 seconds. And we'll have to see. Wimbish, you've got Mueller and Travis Pryor there, your top 5. We'll just have to see if Ramler can capture that top spot back. I really don't know. Unless we get a caution, it's going to be really tough to do.
I was going to say, he has 1 lap older tires than Rob Haynes. And remember, Haynes was staying in that draft much of the race so far before he took that lead on the bottom side a few laps after the restart. Look what's going on, though, for 7th spot. Craziness, including one of the drivers that stretched the longest, David Weishart, who's riding that outside line. He's also trying to get by Adam Eisenhower, who pit that same time. John Sterling older tires, David Elliott older tires, and Bryce Senezak, who's on the same tires as that 33. Multiple stagger differences in tires between these drivers, up to 5 laps.
And as we watch these battles here, you see John Sterling have to give a big check up to the outside there on the inside of the 42 machine, trying to hold on David Elliott. John Sterling's going to lose a couple spots. Here comes Bryce Senezak on the outside line. Bryce looking to get the draft off the number 42 machine. David Elliott down the back straightaway. We got a number of battles here. David Eisenhower just in front of them. He's in the 6th position, battling with David Weishart. They're side by side. David goes to the inside. He's able to make the pass. Eisenhower, big time moves here tonight. He started outside the top 10. He's now inside the top 10. He's sitting in 7th there, even after that pass of Weishart. So we've got a lot of movers throughout the field. But one thing I want to pull your attention to, Scottless Ramler is losing yet again on Rob Haynes in the number 29 machine, and Wimbish is gaining on Ramler.
Side by side, meanwhile, for P4, as Mueller rides the outside line, Travis Pryor tries to attack the inside line. Sends it hard, 180 miles plus on the bottom line. Mueller trying to stay up top and get the run. That gives him the advantage down the backstretch for the Next Level Racing, sponsored Ford Mustang. But remember, Pryor trying to gain up a lot of track position. In fact, he's closing in quickly, both of these drivers, along with Wimbish, to the back end of Rambler, as Rambler start to fall back with the traffic.
Yeah, he's got some traffic there, and here comes the 56 of Wimbish. He's got the draft. He's trying to pull back in. They're 3.5 seconds back from Rob Haynes in the 29 machine. Wimbish, what a night for him to start 14th. He's inside the top 5. Much like Travis Pryor, he's got a lot of experience doing the passing here tonight. We'll have to see here. And the big horseshoe, whatever you want to call it here, if we get a caution, it's going to change everything. Everybody's got to come down for 4 tires. If you don't take 4 tires, you're not going to be competitive. But we'll have to see what happens here with these final laps. We're starting to get closer and closer to the green or the checkered flag.
26 laps to go this time by, and it's going to get crazy, I think. Since the points are on the line, the money's on the line, and Wimbish is down in towards the pit lane. Something's wrong with the 56. The Vinoy construction machine is pitting with 26 laps to go.
And Justin, I'm not 100% sure what that could be. We were right on that point where we're good to go on fuel. So unless he knows something that we don't up here in the booth, Wimbish definitely must have had some type of problem.
He only ran 15 laps. Mind you, he pit on lap 107. You have to wonder if he thought he was going to be able to make it on fuel, maybe? That's the only thing I can think of here, potentially. He's off and away. And an interesting call here for an extra pit stop.
And I guess it's going to be one of those things that we might have to watch here. There's always the option that maybe he didn't get that thing full of fuel on that last stop, because they were all right on that point. If they didn't get it 100% full, they aren't going to make it. If we get green-white-checkers, nobody's going to make it. We're all going to have to come down. So right now, we've got a lot of question marks that just got thrown up into the air, Justin. What's going to happen here in these next 20 laps? Do we have more cars come down or not?
I'm not really sure. We're starting to see some of the drivers that did come a bit early. John Sterling has ducked it down. So all of a sudden, a different strategy has popped up because 9th place is ducked in. There's a chance, it looks like, some of these drivers might be close on fuel and are now trying to prioritize the tires to the end of the race more so than the gas.
And I tell you what, that's what makes these races with this new package so exciting. The draft is important, and that makes tires really important as well, because you can't really utilize the draft without tires. So with all these drivers coming down pit road, they're making sure they're good on fuel. They're going to have 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles unless someone tries to take a little more strategy there, which I think some drivers, honestly, if I were further back inside the top 10, I'd take 2 tires for the heck of it, try to pick up some spots. But we'll have to see here. The top 2 still about 3.5 seconds back. M. Scottless Rambler, that last time by was 0.2 of a second quicker than Rob Haynes in number 29. So I don't know, Justin. This is what makes these races so exciting, especially here at tracks like Texas. You just get so many strategies, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, this has opened up a lot of different things potentially if there's drivers that have to come down. Mind you, there's some of the drivers that were lapped down that pit just outside of that estimated window. We've seen 1.5 miles. That's why you just seen Jay Pryor duck down, for example. But that is cycled now. Haynes to first still. Rambler again is still second. Pryor now to third. Muir in fourth. And a Hornet's Nest is just behind them a few seconds back for fifth. That has just seen Bryce Senezak climb up the hill and lose a couple more spots trying to push. Meanwhile, John Wimbish is trying to cut through the middle on fresh tires.
And if you've just now tuned into the iRacing Esports Network, you've tuned in for a good one here. The Ricmotech Cup Series here, ExtremeMotorsports99.com. We are here live at Texas Motor Speedway. We've got all of these drivers battling it out, and we've got a lot of storylines unfolding, not only for this race on its own, but for the points, Justin. Here, as this race is coming down to the wire, we've got about 20 laps to go here. Justin, what do you do at this point of the race? Do you just hang it out, hope you got the fuel? Do you come down, stay safe? And what about the green-white-checkers? We could have 4 of them here in this series. That could change absolutely everything.
Honestly, I've done the strategy of trying to make it to the end and staying out for a caution. It can end up giving you a victory potentially. And it looks like a majority of the drivers, including the current race leader, Rob Haynes, is currently abiding that strategy with 18 laps to go. Here's the thing, though. If you pit, I don't know if there's the chance of getting all the positions back you lost here, I think, here, Mr. Bonesteel. Because the drivers that pit are still a lap down on the circuit. Rambler now is in the pits, though. Rambler's pit with 17 coming laps to go.
And we got all of these storylines playing out. Rob Haynes, the number 29 machine's out on the track, but it looks like he's coming down. So just like that right there, the entire race is changing as a whole ton of these top 10 drivers bring it down pit road, as we're going to have just under 20 laps left here when everyone starts to cycle back out. Justin, do we get any drivers that stay out? Do we get any drivers that take two?
This is going to get interesting. All the leaders have just ducked down to the lane. Rambler coming out of the pit lane. Travis Pryor also coming down. Crash in the pit lane, though. Joshua Gillen has spun out into his stall and is now going on in the pit lane. Has to go around, it looks like, one more time after slamming the inside wall. We stay green, of course, since that's in the lane. He'll be wedged between two drivers on the lead lap. This is what happened to the 40.
You see the issues with the number 40 there, and Travis Pryor almost got held up by that. Travis Pryor, the number 81 machine, able to get back up on the racetrack there. And Justin, just like that, we have so many different things going on this racetrack. We're running out of laps. Texas Motor Speedway always puts on a good show, and you guys are all tuned in for it here live on LSR TV.
Yeah. And here's the reason. Remember that two-tire strategy you mentioned? I think Gillen was listening, and you can see the results.
And I tell you what, it's one of those things where until you do it, that two-tire strategy is so hard to call. And you pull out of that pit stall, it feels like you're on ice, and around you go. So unfortunately for Gillen, looks like two tires is not going to be paying off for him here. I really don't think anyone else took two tires, Justin, unless you see something different here.
Travis Pryor actually took two and is in 11th spot right now on the track. He is the only driver on the lead lap right now outside of Gillen that took two. But these are the drivers trying to stretch it. Senezak, Alameda Elliott, David Weishart, Alex Fox, Adam Eisenhower, Bobby Tint, Jerry Glenn, Davey Hendricks, all trying to stretch it on the track to try and make it to the end on fuel and hoping it stays green and or they don't run out. Fox is trying to make the pass on the outside line to get third position. And remember, Weishart was one of the drivers, in fact, the last driver to come in the pit lane on the last cycle.
And I tell you what, right now, Bryce Senesac out in front of the field. We saw him at Indianapolis make these strategy calls. They would have paid off with him in a normal race. Indianapolis got crazy at the end, so it was a tough one nonetheless. But here at Texas, here you go again. Bryce Senesac in front of the field, David Elliott right behind him. We saw a lot of these drivers taking the strategy call tonight. They've done it before in this season, so they've got an idea of what to expect, and we'll just have to see. If we get a caution, these last 10 laps, that changes everything. If they run out of fuel, obviously that changes everything, Justin. But we're going to have a lot of different storylines playing out through the top 10.
And remember, the driver that was in the lead, Rob Haynes, just made the pass on John T. Wimbish, who opened up this strategy for the lead cars. And there's a big spread for these machines. Right now, Wimbish, for example, inside the top 10, 18 seconds back from Bryce Senezak on the oldest tires of the drivers trying the two-stop to make it to the finish here. And starting to get reeled in a bit by Travis Pryor on the two tires. Bryce Senezak, your race leader, still with David Elliott second with 11 laps to go. This could be one of the biggest strategy gambles if this pays off, and one of the biggest strategy breakthroughs of the season.
And of course, we do have our points leader in Fox. He's in that third position. He's got David Weishart behind him. And we'll have to see here for Fox and that number 73 machine. Does this work out? Does it not? We're 10 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. And if it doesn't work out, what does this do for points, Justin?
Well, Fox is in a good position. Weishart in a good position. But Senezak, mind you, was in a position needing potential points with how things were starting to shake out. on the schedule. Senezak was second coming into tonight. This would gain him some ground potentially if he holds on to a hard-charging Fox for that points lead, just 6 points back. The drivers also needing points tonight that are trying the strategy it looks like so far. Guys like Glenn, lower point of the standings, 19th, looking to try and gain big points. Bobby Tinch looking for a positive in 6th, coming in tonight, 20th in points, is in 6th. Haynes, after that flip upside down at Auto Club, needing a good rebound race, getting that here. But the battle's starting to heat up, and fairly quickly, Alan Fox working with David Weishart. They're going back and forth. Look who's charging. That is Ramler, still a lap down. That is looking to get his lead back. Lap back.
I was just about to say that there. The 57, Scott Ramler, moving through the field. He looks to the inside line. This is going to change things up. You've got the 33 of Weishart there on the inside. We go 3 wide coming across the checkered flag, or excuse me, the line there is Ramler, that 57 on the inside line. Holy crap, he just blew right past him there on those fresh tires. And here comes Senezak. He's a sitting duck for that 57. That gets his lap back, and that right there is very important if we do get a late race caution. But here comes the 33 Weishart. Big run on the inside line. Senezak goes high. 33 gets tight. And here comes the 73 of Alan Fox right back on his bumper. Yet again, the top 3, they're all battling for that top position right on top of each other there. Senezak gets a little bit tight behind Ramler. Ramler's going to pull away. And here comes Weishart looking for that top spot.
Hendricks just had to duck down once one of the drivers trying to make the strategy work. But for now, with 5 laps to go, the caution has come out. Caution is out, and this changes everything. It is down the backstretch. Jay Pryor, in his second incident of the race, will make things interesting, getting collected by Randy Perdue off of turn 2.
And that right there, that's a tough one for the number 80, kind of just hanging out on the outside line, gets turned there, coming down the back straightaway, and that right there changes absolutely everything. And just like what I said there for the 57 Ramler, getting that lap back meant absolutely everything. And now the strategy comes into play. Ramler, now that you're back on the lead lap, do you pit or do you not? Pretty much everyone on the lead lap is going to be coming down pit road, get 4 fresh Goodyears. Probably no more fuel, maybe just a titch in case we get green-white checkers. But do you stay out? You're going to be on older tires, but you're going to have the track position that you wouldn't have had either other way.
This is going to get very dicey here, depending on how this goes. By the way, Davey Hendricks, who pit that last time by, got lucky. He gets to stay on the lead lap and just took tires. So this could get interesting for Hendricks if this works out. All the leaders, though, are into the pit lane. Senezak, Weishart, amongst the drivers going into their stalls as this race takes an interesting turn and what could potentially be a 2-lap shootout.
And you say 2-lap shootout, I say green-white checkers in the background. So we'll have to see here as these drivers come off pit road.
Yeah. For those that are wondering, the 80 car involved with Perdue for the incident to bring out the caution. And we're hearing a passing of the yellow penalty given to one of the drivers as well, potentially. First driver out of the pit lane, though, is Senezak Elliott Weishart. As you see, this is the driver that was involved in part with the incident with Randy Perdue. This was out of turn 2 that brought the yellow flag with under 5 laps to go. As we're going to take a look at this, you see Pryor on the high side. And Perdue, who is now in 16th after the caution, makes contact pushing up, sends Pryor hard in the wall, spins him around like a bottle top, and brings out the yellow. That changes everything and shuffles the field. The drivers a lap down, starting to come down the lane. Randy Perdue looking to get the wave around, but Rob Haynes in first, Senezak second, with Elliott, Weishart, and Eisenhower rounding out the positions. This could get interesting because it appears Haynes, on a different strategy here, has got himself back up to the race lead.
And once this restart, we go green, we'll see everything play out. But I tell you what, right now, we've got so many different strategies right now. Bryce Senezak, David Elliott, those drivers right there, they were outside the top 10 most of the night, and there they are inside of it. And then, of course, you have drivers like Travis Pryor, Alan Fox, John Sterling, Ramler, of course. Now they're a little bit further back in traffic here, as I think we're probably going to get the 1 to green this time by. And this caution changed absolutely everything out there, and we're along for the ride, honestly.
Yeah, this ride's going to get interesting. The reason, as I mentioned, Rob Haynes' different strategy, reason it's a different one, he stayed out on that pit stop here, Steve. Old tires, this is going to be very risky.
And those old tires, if it's 1-2 laps difference, not a big deal, but that is not quite the case here.
Not even close to the case.
No.
It's a much different situation. Green-white-checkered has been triggered. 4 green-white-checkers are the series distance. As now, this is going to get very curious to see how this works out. Haynes on a slightly different strategy is on that 5-stop total for the drivers today. He's now in the lead once more. Bryce Senizak outside. Elliott, David Weishart round out the top 4. Adam Eisenhower looking for a good point stay. In fifth position in the SimSpeedShop.com machine. Bobby Tinch looking to have a positive after an up and down campaign. 6th in the number 66 machine. Jerry Glenn is in 7th, trying to rebound after a top 3 in the Xfinity Series race. Travis Pryor 8th, Wimbish and Fox round out the top 10. All bets are off as we get ready for the green-white checker to decide the winner of the Texas 222 with 2 laps to go.
You're going to have the number 29 of Rob Haynes. He's on what, 30 lap old tires there in that 29 on the inside. He's got to watch for the tire spin. Bryce Senizak on his outside. Pace car is down on pit lane. Green flag in the air. 29 is away. We're back green flag.
Rob Haynes, decent jump as you look from the rear view of Rob Haynes trying to defend the lines. Up to the gears they go. Senizak on the outside. David Elliott on the inside for 2nd spot. Elliott trying to get the run from Heck to try and gain up. A lap and a half to go here at Texas.
Down the back straightaway, you get a little bit of that draft there. Bryce Senizak on the outside of the 42. Going into turns 3 and 4. You've got Senizak, 42, David Elliott on the inside. Here comes those big guys behind him. The 86 is loose on the inside, into the grass. No caution, white flag in the air.
We stay green, this race stays official. 1 to go from Texas. Elliott on the back bumper, Rob Haynes pushes him up the racetrack. David Elliott takes the race lead. Bobby Tinch falls through for 2nd spot. Here comes Travis Pryor, they crash on the backstretch. Wimbish in the wall, Weishart in the wall, but they're side by side for the race victory. Pryor tries to send it hard on the inside. Elliott tries to defend a half lane up. Forced to check up as Pryor. Elliott holds on, but David Elliott will bring the Primetime Motorsports Chevrolet to victory lane and wins it at Texas.
Absolutely insane final lap there. You saw it coming through 3 and 4. Travis Pryor right on the inside. They're wrecking after the checker there. But the 81 Travis Pryor had a huge run on David Elliott. David Elliott was able to get around the number 29, obviously. He gets the win here at Texas. That number 42 machine started in 20th here tonight. Travis Pryor behind him started in 23rd, and Bobby Tinch finished 3rd. He started in 15th. What a night for all of these drivers, Justin.
And this is his first victory of 2019 as well, after having 2 DNFs, finishing 2nd in Kentucky. Now gets himself into victory lane here in Texas, with just 3 races to go in the regular season. A big-time victory for Primetime Motorsports. But we'll take a quick break and run down your full race results after these messages. You're watching LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network from Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome back, everyone, to Texas Motor Speedway for tonight's coverage of the Ricmotech Cup Series here on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. It was an exciting finish down to the end under a green-white-checkered, but in the end, it's David Elliott who found his way to victory lane for the first time in Season 3. Travis Pryor had a late race charge, but after starting 23rd, can only get to second at the time of the checker flag. Bobby Tinch, with one of his best runs of all of Season 3, came away third with Jerry Glenn, topping off his third in the Xfinity Series with a fourth in the Cup Series. Bryce Senesak rounded out the top 5 with Alan Fox, Michael Muir, Scott Westramore, Gary May, and Rob Haynes, who was the leader with 1 to go after being moved up the track, being slotted down to 10th position.
Davey Hendricks right outside the top 10 there in the number 44 machine. He finishes 11th. Randy Perdue and John Sterling, they are 12th and 13th respectively. Adam Eisenhower, David Weishart, who started second. That number 33 machine finishes 15th. John Wimbish, he's going to be there in 16th. He's the last car in the lead lap, followed by Ed Morris, Joshua Gillen, Darren Clement, and then Jay Pryor rounds out your top 20. Tommy Haynes, Tyler Holman, Nick Hunt, and Mike Franklin, as that rounds out all your drivers here tonight. Mike Franklin, 66 laps down after being involved in trouble earlier on in the race.
All other drivers from Race Control, as you see on the ticker, but that's a look at your Ford Entertainment Group full race results. FEGPC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get to racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the 600 plus others already joining FEGPC. PCs are available to fit every budget, $540 on up. Visit FEGPC.net and put in the code LSRTV10 and get your build quoted today. And as you can see, a heck of a finish coming towards the stripe in some points, some heck of a battles coming to said checker flag. But in the end, it is David Elliott taking his first win of Season 3. David, how does it feel to be a victor this season?
Man, can't believe it. I'm stinking excited. It's pretty awesome, man. Thank y'all.
Talk us through that battle on the green-white-checkered, because it ended up coming down to the final corners essentially with that late race caution.
Yeah, it did. I knew that if I took 4 tires, fuel, I'd be good to go. I was fast enough all night. If I could just catch a little bit of a break, I was good enough at the end of that long run. I think I had them on fuel mileage, but just to take 4 tires and outrun them, it feels awesome. I can't believe it.
I was going to ask about that as well. We've seen a surprise mixed strategy, to be honest, with drivers taking fuel and splitting the final run of the race. He's taking 4 and sacrificing track position, while many others, such as yourself, tried to stretch it. What came through with that strategy? And in the end, how close were you at fuel before that caution flag, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I was close. I was like half a lap short. I was clutching it, letting off 3/4 throttle, backing up, just kind of staying with Bryce to see, because I knew Bryce pitted after I did. I knew it was going to be close, but man, I guess the caution was the lucky break I needed.
In the end, you're able to find victory lane for the first time. Highest finishing position before this was at Kentucky in that thrower to start off the season. But now, just a couple more races left in the regular season. Next up is a short track. It's Dover for 190 laps. Your thoughts on going to Dover with this package?
Glad I got my win out the way, and I'm ready for the playoffs. I'm going to just sit back and chill and ride around at Dover, because I suck there, and it's not going to be that fun, and I'm glad I got this one out the way.
That's a strategy, and could be a smart one depending on how the points settle down. You're already having some great points coming into tonight. But before we let you go to celebrate with your team, is there anyone you want to thank for being a part of your victory tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Primetime Motorsports. Thank everybody at Extreme Motorsports putting on the best league out there in iRacing. I want to thank everybody at Carolina Gaming Rigs. I want to thank everybody at Ed's Race Paints. It's just been a pretty good season all in all. I mean, I've been up there, I've been close. To finally get one's pretty nice.
Congratulations on your first victory of the season. We hope to see bigger things as the season continues on, to try and add potentially maybe a second victory as the rest of the year continues. Congratulations again.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys, too, for putting on the broadcast. Y'all do way better than anybody out there, even better than the guys that do it in real life. So keep it up.
Thank you very much for the compliment. Congratulations once again. David Elliott coming away with the victory tonight. Standing by with second place, though, is Travis Pryor, who had a strong car once again, Steve.
Travis, we talked to you in Indianapolis, and I almost had the same tale of the tape. You started outside the top 20, and you made it there inside the top 5. So first, tell me, what did you do tonight to finish second?
I really think just on that first run, I was able to get a real good grip on the track and was able to make some moves. And I felt in the longer run in the beginning of the race, my car was really good. So that really played a factor in me being able to get through the field like that. And it's so hard to pass once you get up in the top 10, top 15. Everyone gets so even and so equal. Once you can start in the back and make your way up to the front if you got a fast car, but then everyone gets tight and it's just hard to pass, make moves, um, and once I got up there in the top 10, it was just up to I guess the racing gods, to see how much further I can get because it's a crapshoot with these cars.
Well, really, one thing I do want to mention is you made a lot of passes here tonight. I think if the stats are right, I think you passed like 33 cars for track position here tonight at one point or another. And that right there, that makes a big difference on the night. So, Travis, can I ask you, so does making all of those passes, does that help you later down in the run when you're racing with those top 5? Are you able to take what you learned from passing throughout the field and apply that at the end of the race?
Yeah, I definitely think it did. Once I got up in the top 5 around the faster people, I realized coming to the field, if you can get on the bottom and keep your momentum through the center and have a decent exit, you can beat them, especially 1 and 2. If you can stay underneath them in 1 and 2 and then get a good run down the backstretch or at least stay even with them, you can really barrel it in a 3 and possibly clear them out of 4. So anytime I got in the top 5, I remembered that, and I knew what I knew what I had to do to keep it on the bottom and keep my momentum. But I can say if I didn't have to pass all those cars, I probably wouldn't have known what it would take to pass people on the bottom because it was extremely difficult once you got up to the top 5. But I definitely think passing all those cars definitely helped.
And next week we look ahead to Dover, so a completely different beast. Kind of like that in between a short track and then a larger track like we had here at Texas Motor Speedway. So I'm sure you'll be able to take some of the things you learned here tonight and take that over the next week. But before we head off to the third place finisher, who do you have to thank for that second place finish here tonight?
I always got to thank all the people that watch me do all this. Pat T, she's still there every single night watching me do this, even if it's not a league race. Got my mom and little brother watching too, watching as well. It's awesome to see all of them watch and support me and back me up and get all excited as they do. As we're such a racing family, so it's awesome to still have some kind of racing in it. And I think the admins for here doing an awesome job. This league is just getting better and better, and I'm still just so happy to be here. Thanks Ricmotech for coming aboard and sponsoring us this year. I hope he's happy with doing that. And Rick Donovan running a great league here in Extreme. And I also got to thank my sponsor Hostler Grips for sticking with us this whole year. Y'all go to hostlergrips.com and use the promo code iRacing. Get 20% off on any of your gaming needs. So anyone that helps keep this league the way it is, and y'all do an amazing job broadcasting, as it's so fun to watch throughout the week, and anyone that makes this thing what it is.
Well, we appreciate there, Travis. You make it exciting every week. These last 3 weeks, you've definitely put on a great show moving through the field. So we'll see you next week at Dover, and then I do believe Justin, you're catching up with our third place finisher there on pit road.
Yes, indeed. Bobby Tinch coming away third, his strongest finish of the season, and what has been, looking at the stats, a up and down, just the second top 10, first top 5 of the season. Bobby, how does it feel to have your strongest performance of the season, strongest finish, I should say, coming here today at Texas?
Oh, it feels great. I had a rough start to the first half of the season. This is a good start here to heading towards the playoffs. Hopefully this is a sign of what's coming.
Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, of course, is you're amongst the drivers who tried to stay out on the field strategy. What came about the decision to try and do something different to try and get this track position, as it ended up, of course, in the end paying off?
Yeah, I mean, we were just running there, and we just figured we could do it if we ran our tank out there. We were going to be really close, and I think me and David, a teammate, had saved about a lap, and we were good to go to the end, and the caution came out.
And with that, you end up coming away in third in this one, but how does it feel really in terms of how this season has gone to be able to get this good finish? Because coming into tonight, 4 straight sub-top 10 finishes, 3 of which were in the 20s. How does it feel to have this bounce back finish here tonight?
Oh, I mean, it's like a win for me tonight. No doubt about that. I got teammates. David's been out there winning. Tyler's been running top 5s, top 10s, and I'm struggling, getting caught up and stuff. Not my own doing, and this is like a win for me tonight. My teammates had a little trouble. David had a little trouble there at the end. But all in all, good night.
Now Dover's next on the schedule. 190 laps, as mentioned, to race winner David Elliott. How do you feel about Dover? His strategy is staying at the back the whole race. What's your strategy?
Haven't really talked it over with the team yet. I'm probably not too far from that strategy. Long race, a lot of aggression. So I think I'll probably ride a little bit and see how it shakes out there.
With that, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go here tonight, Bobby?
Oh, Extreme Motorsports and Ricmotech. If it wasn't for them, we, wouldn't be here this season. Northern Capital, my sponsor. Samson Motorsport, our team. I mean, we've got a top-notch group of guys, and we all just strive and make each other push even harder. Doug Designs, Premier Private Car Services, everybody that has something in doing this. We thank you, all of you, even you guys. You guys do a great job. Loved it. You guys are broadcasting us this season, and enjoy watching it.
Thank you very much once again for the time, Bobby. Congratulations on the top 5.
Thank you.
And that's Bobby Tinch coming away in third tonight. His best finish of Season 3. Steve, before we say goodbye here on the iRacing Esports Network and LSR TV, your final thoughts before we head off to the sunset and prepare for Dover.
Well, we head over to Dover the next week, and then after that we have Daytona, and then we go to Kansas right after that. So we have 3 different tracks that they're all going to race very independently, and Daytona in the middle of that. That's a lottery race. We got 100 laps there, and then we go to the chase. The top 12 drivers are in for the action, and then after here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, what a night it was. David Elliott did get the win. Next week we look to Dover. I think it's going to be another one of those races where if you can make the right strategy calls here, you might be able to pull off that top 5 or even a win like David Elliott was able to do tonight. So Justin, I think we've got ourselves 3 great races ahead, and then the chase, of course. It's going to be a great rest of the season.
And on top of that, some of the craziness in this race, some of the big ones, as well as that crash down the backstretch, will make things interesting for the point situation. Just 3 points separate Gillen and Hendricks for the final postseason spot. Again, all results unofficial, but it's time to say goodbye here at the iRacing Esports Network and LSR TV. We'd like to thank Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment, Premier Private Car Services, ExtremeMotorsports99.com, along with Ford Entertainment Group for being a part of this season's coverage here on the iRacing Esports Network. You've been watching the Ricmotech Cup Series from Texas Motor Speedway. Next race is in 1 week's time from Dover, 190 laps to decide who can conquer the concrete short track. We hope to see you tune in. But for Steve Bonesteel, for Hugo Wee, I'm Justin Prince saying so long and have a wonderful rest of your night.